Have you ever stood near the edge of a high building, looked down, and felt your stomach tighten? Even though there's a thick glass barrier right in front of you? Or maybe you've watched someone crawl through a narrow tunnel and suddenly felt uncomfortable yourself. If you know that feeling, you're not alone. Your heart races, your palms get sweaty, and a simple video on a screen became difficult to watch. It feels like a glitch. It feels like your body is overreacting to something that isn't actually hurting you. But what if I told you that this overwhelming surge of anxiety isn't a sign of weakness? In fact, it's proof that a beautiful ancient system inside of you is working exactly the way it was designed to. To understand why this happens, we have to meet the tiny guardian living inside your brain, the amygdala. Think of it as your internal smoke detector. Its only job is to scan the horizon and keep you alive. Fear is normal. It's what stops us from petting a wild bear. But a phobia is a little different. A phobia happens when that internal smoke detector gets calibrated just a bit too sensitively. Long before cities existed, fear helped keep our ancestors alive. To an ancient human, being trapped in a closed, tight space meant being buried alive or trapped by a predator. Being high up meant a single misstep could end everything. So your brain evolved to detect danger, and it became very good at it. In fact, sometimes it's a little too good. So when you experience irrational fear, your modern logical brain knows you are safe. But your ancient amygdala doesn't care about logic. It sees the heights or the enclosed space, and it dumps adrenaline into your system, prepping your muscles to run. It's not trying to scare you, it's trying to save you. Most fears make sense. Fire can burn, a fall can injure. Wild animals can be dangerous, but a phobia is different. A phobia is an intense fear that feels much larger than the actual threat. Someone with a fear of spiders may panic at the sight of a tiny spider. Someone afraid of heights may feel dizzy while standing behind a secure barrier. Someone with claustrophobia may feel trapped in a perfectly safe elevator. The important thing is this. People with phobias usually know their fear doesn't fully make sense. But knowing that doesn't stop the reaction. Because the fear isn't coming from logic. It's coming from a much older part of the brain. But why do some of us develop these intense phobias while others don't? And when does it start? Psychologists tell us it usually traces back to a combination of three things: genetics, environment, and experience. Sometimes a phobia starts after a frightening experience. A dog bite, a difficult flight. Sometimes it triggers in childhood after a single stressful event, like getting stuck in a closet or dropping a toy from a high balcony. Your brain takes that intense moment of stress, creates a shortcut, and says, okay, we are labeling this specific thing as a threat forever. How it happens in the moment is like a lightning-fast chain reaction. The second your eyes or even your thoughts register the trigger, your thinking brain gets bypassed, and your nervous system takes over. Your breathing becomes shallow to pump more oxygen to your limbs, and your vision narrows. It feels terrifying because it happens entirely beneath your conscious control. When we are caught in the grip of a phobia, our first instinct is to fight it. We get angry at ourselves. We try to force our way through it. or we spend massive amounts of energy avoiding the trigger entirely. But here is the golden rule of the human mind. What you resist persists. Fear itself is normal. Fear protects us. The goal is helping the brain understand when the alarm is unnecessary. Research has shown that gradual exposure can help many phobias. This is the foundation of what therapists call exposure therapy, or systematic desensitization. We don't conquer fear by jumping off a cliff. We conquer it in tiny, gentle steps. If you're afraid of tight spaces, you don't start with a closed duct. You start by looking at a picture of one. While sitting in your favorite chair, practicing slow, deep breathing, you teach your nervous system, one calm breath at a time, that the trigger does not equal danger. You are rewriting the old software. It takes time, it takes patience, and above all, it takes being incredibly kind to yourself. Phobias are just our brains being a little too protective, a little too loud. But you are entirely capable of showing your mind a new, calmer path forward. So the next time your heart races in a perfectly safe situation, remember, it may not be weakness. It may simply be an old alarm, ringing a little louder than it needs to. And with time, the brain can learn that it's safe to be quiet again. Now tell me, what's your phobia or a weirdly specific fear that you've always lived with? Let me know in the comments below. You might be surprised by how many people feel the exact same way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next zone.